we're going to talk about the new announcement of Elon Musk that their AI and space thing is going to be called Starmind. So today we're doing Starmind. So let's play Ziggy Stardust.
He plays guitar, jamming good with weird and gaily, and the spiders from Mars. He played it left hand.
So, the whole idea is like there's 10,000 satellites right now, and there'll be more.
The special man.
So there'll be tens of thousands of AI computational centers running off of solar panels, running trillions of calculations and sending them back to Earth.
He could lick up by smiling. He could
It's doable.
They came on so loaded, man. Well, on the snow white track. So where was the spiders?
Yeah. The downside is that Starmind is never going to create David Bowie, but let's all calm down. So I'm going to give you a whole bunch of, I wanted to put my tie on and be like a little bit of Jim Cramer kind of a thing here for a couple minutes and talk about all the money that's being moved around as we are going at, we meaning the West, all this money is being pumped into AI in different ways, and the cash flows and the stock market's at an all-time high and all this stuff. But of course, we have to do Trump first, because now you can see what Trump really is, and you can see what Iran really is. Iran was just another. It's not a real war. It's like a negotiation of like, I blow up some of your shit, you blow up some of our shit, then we'll sit down to talk, right? I mean, it really shows what the president of the United States really is. He's sort of just a mouthpiece running a new agenda, and of course, the people all around him, starting with his original Secretary of Commerce, Wilbur Ross, they're all Rothschild people. It's not hard. So the Straits of Hormuz is all in play, right? It was about nuclear stuff, and we have to make sure they can never have a nuke. Unbelievable. And now it's all about the Straits of Hormuz, because we now have to have this big worry about the Straits of Hormuz. So we have a justification for all the pipelines to go up through Syria and go through Turkey and into Europe. It's not that hard, people. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. And of course, we're going to keep launching shit at Russia. But whenever you get lost in this, just remember, it's all being run by AI. All of it. Probably the negotiations too. But let's go into the finance as though the finance is real. But is the finance real? Like, who makes all the trades in the stock market on a daily basis? It's AI, right? It's Aladdin. It's BlackRock's Aladdin system. So we're going to sit here for the next couple of minutes. We're going to talk about the AI investing in itself, setting prices by itself, and the rest of us are just and watching wars happen. I guess there was this big kerfuffle. GOP senators had lunch with Trump, and there was some heated exchanges. They're like laying into him now because people can see through it. This is why I did this crazy piece last week called about Captain Beefheart and the fucking octofish and all this craziness. Is that you don't just have to be a weird influencer like me who reads too much to look at it and go, people, it's all fake. It's all fake. We're all getting all worked up about a bunch of. It's not even about Netanyahu and Epstein and girls being tied to beds. That's just That's just all the fuckery so that everybody talks about things that are no one's ever gonna go after those Epstein people. They'd have to go after the whole US Congress. You know what I mean? Like, is Epstein gonna take out is like the Wexner Mafia gonna take out the Wexner Mafia? No. So, this is how it works. Let's all calm down and be friends.
Just the fear light to guide us. So we bits about his fans and should with crosses we have.
So, and nothing's going to change, people. They're going to go build this Starmind thing. It has nothing to do with finance or the stock market or Trump or some pissed off senator from Louisiana. Those people in Washington D.C. think that their things can run in the video game. It's not. They're just going like this, and they're not plugged in. They're all getting worked up for no reason, right? So what I'm about to tell you is like it's almost like a kind of irony that there's all these announcements of all this money moving in different directions and so forth, but it doesn't matter. They're going to build the fucking Starmind whether the NASDAQ goes down 99% because it's all run by DARPA, right? You don't really believe that the CI or whoever runs DARPA or whatever, that they would allow the internet to be like taken over by somebody else. There's absolutely no chance of that. So I guess my reaction to all this is sort of like a big like whatever. Like, okay, so they're going to put 100,000 satellites doing calculations in space. Uh, I'd rather listen to David Bowie. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't really make. I mean, I guess if I had like cancer or I had a brain injury and they found a way to make it all work, and so I just am like skeptical of this whole literally religious like approach to technology. And then as I'm opening up the thing, um, we'll do I'll name a bunch of names, the big tech names. We'll talk about their cash flows in a second. But there's this guy on Substack. He does nice work. He's older than me, but like me, and probably more so, he thinks the financial markets are real. But just for that's my whole point today. Like just for this conversation, let's pretend like they are. His name is George Noble, and he just he just popped this off. You should probably go take a look at this. Big tech's $1 trillion AI moat just got destroyed by a free Chinese download. So you remember there was DeepSeek, right? Came out on Boxing Day on I think 2025, and people were like, "WTF?" Well, there's another one. So here I'll just. He does nice work, by the way. I'd like to George Noble, just like it sounds. Now this is cool. I there's this whole world of like open licensing, and you get the license from MIT, which of course is a Western American university. And that applies to things like in the chip world. There's like all this open source stuff. And then there's all this American, it's not really American, but all this closed stuff. Now we pretend like we're the open people, right? It's called open AI. And of course it's not open. And then we're going to go build the Starmind. It's going to cover the earth. Okay. China is not trying to do that. And that's why their shit always wins. Because our stuff is Luciferian. Our stuff has to take over the world. It's going to be unbelievable, unbelievable. And China's just like, no, we just protect the Chinese people. See, this is why everybody's so pissed off right now, is they're looking at Trump and their last little bit of nationalism has just been like fucking stamped on. And they know that Trump is just a complete. In a way, some of the conservatives are starting to turn on Trump like people that hate MAGA, right? they can just see that he is completely fake. And I'm just telling you, he just works for the Rothschilds. Just get over it. Just move on. They're going to build Starmind no matter fucking Larry Ellison's stock goes up or down. All right. See if there's anything really exciting. Oh, there's a nice little video there. It'd probably be nice to listen to it. I don't know. Let's watch
We've
it.
basically been told that the hundreds of billions of dollars that is being spent on AI capex is for one single reason only: to gain a moat ahead of any other model provider. So we spend all this money on compute to train a frontier AI model, and that moat, it doesn't matter what other companies do in China, we will have the best model, and that's enough for us. This release from GLM, from Chipu, with GLM 5.2, basically shows us the opposite. For a fraction of the cost, you can create a near frontier model that does 95% of the work. And so it brings into question the valuation between these companies. Should they be spending this amount of money, or can we just do it for a lot cheaper like these Chinese AI labs?
Yeah, well, the large AI labs, I'm not sure they have a choice. I mean, it's just you have to continue to push the frontier forward, whether you like it or not. But I think what we're seeing is a lot of these questions that we were excited to see play out, we're starting to get answers to. Like now, it's less China versus America and more open source versus closed source.
That's just the headline I wanted you to hear. I haven't even watched that before. That's the big thing. Isn't it weird that China, communist, 50 million people were killed by Chairman Mao? They have open source shit. We have closed source stuff. And of course, this is what I'm telling you. They will not let anybody else occupy space. Catherine Austin Fitts did a great job of this. I don't know, like 5-6 years ago, she said the whole thing is going into space. She might be a limited hangout too. I mean, I might be. Okay, so I got on Manus, and I was reading about the share buybacks. Now, share buybacks, just as a rule of thumb, have been across the S&P 500 have been of almost $1 trillion a year for the last 20 years. Now, at the same time, there's about 1.8 trillion in off-balance sheet borrowing by these tech companies now, by tech companies and companies that are building infrastructure for the tech companies and companies that make the infrastructure and blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's like almost $2 trillion. The irony to me is that they've spent all this money for the last 20 years and have nothing to show for it on share buybacks. Share buybacks don't make anything. For example, NVIDIA just announced a $40 billion share buyback. Well, there's other chip technology that's beating them, and instead of trying to compete, they're just going to buy their stock. Like, I can never get over that. Most of the big tech, I'll go through it here just in a second. Basically, the cash flow to put into share buybacks is now at zero. And if you pull Apple out of that, it's well below zero. So we've lived through the last 20 years to make the NASDAQ go like this, of just buying shares. My point is, when you listen to those guys talk about Chinese stuff, China doesn't spend near as much money. It's open source. Like I've said on here, it's just my thesis. Like, I'm not sure that the NASDAQ is where the innovation is going to be. You know what I mean? Like the big 10 companies that we think rule the world, do they really have the best tech right now? Apple and Google do. Okay. So let me run some other numbers. So the other big thing that happened this week that got me into this whole thing, and that's why I'm blabbing about it, is SK Hynix is not a household word in the United States, but it's the company that makes memory chips. It competes with Samsung for like making the mass production, sort of the Oreos of the chip world. Okay. However, they also do the final construction for NVIDIA. And they were to build a big facility right beside Purdue University. I don't know what stage that's in. A member of my family was involved in that project. And do you remember when Biden was on TV after the horrible debate and said, I spoke to the president of the Korean company and they're coming to the United States? So in the last month or two, the Korean, Korea's a little place, right? The Korean stock market has gone exponential. I think it's up 200% in like 2 months or something. It's crazy. I think SK Hynix is up 300%. And this is sort of my theme today, is sort of like, this is going to happen anyways, so get over it. But there's something very lame about it. Like the way China looks at the problem and the government says, okay, either you corporations do it or we're going to do it or both. In our system, what happens is Wall Street looks at what's happened in the economy and makes the stock go up. But the stock going up doesn't make the investment. There's not a cocktail party or water cooler talk. You can say that to people and people go, well, sure it does. Sure, if the stock goes up, that means that they're investing in something. In the end, no, it doesn't. I don't know, the way our system works is we make market cap first. It wasn't always like this. It wasn't like this 100 years ago. We make market cap first, and then we try to catch up with the technology and the investments. Like, before SpaceX, the whole thing was combined. Tesla was worth $1.5 trillion. It was worth more than all the auto companies in the world put together. So we make the market cap and then use the market cap to make the investment. So like right now, SpaceX is like making acquisitions. And again, like I can sit here and put my tie on and say like the world's going to return to 1957, and it's not going to fucking return to 1957. It's not going to even return to 1984. Like nothing's based on dividends anymore. Nothing's based on earnings. Nothing's even based on revenue. It's just everything is a meme. But SK Hynix looked at this and said, holy shit, we really do need to do some massive investments. So they're going to issue $40 billion in stock. Now, to me, that makes sense, right? There's this enormous demand. They need to expand outside of Korea. They want to come to the United States, build some giant facilities like SpaceX's. Of course, they're building the Tariff fab. And, but let me find. So I put some notes up yesterday. I asked Manus to make a couple graphs for me. This one, I know you won't be able to see it very good, but just the one in the middle is the one. This one right here is where you really have to go, holy smokes. So the blue is the buybacks, and the orange is the capital expenditures. And right when Trump was elected, the capital expenditures exceeded the share buybacks. In other words, the cash available from these giant tech companies, this is the NASDAQ 100, which is primarily like the top 10 companies. So now all the cash coming in to these monster tech companies is going into investment instead of investing in their own stock. What does that mean for the stock? I'll just leave it to you. I don't know, but it's like, so down at the bottom here, it gave us a nice thing and it shows us Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, which of course is Google, Amazon. The only one, the yellow one at the bottom, the gold one at the bottom is Apple. They're the only ones that have the cash flow to keep the share buybacks going on. The other ones like an Oracle and Meta and stuff, they're completely falling apart. And I think I gave it. Yeah, yep, this is the one to get. Look at this graph. This is just Google, Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon. total value of shares repurchased by the biggest AI spenders. It's now at 0. So, like, the math of these billions and hundreds of billions and trillions moving around is at a big inflection point. Big inflection point. Coming out of 2008, they printed trillions and trillions and trillions. Like, and it just, this is like Mark Faber stuff. Like, it means trillions of dollars are just going somewhere in the economy. So they go into banks. Do banks trade stocks? Yes. Do banks speculate? Yes. So all that starts to just flow around into the system, looking for a hub. But my point in all this is all these trillions blowing around the American financial system, and then you wake up month after month after month, and we are inferior to China. Is China going to build the Starmind? Probably not. Probably because they don't see that it's worthwhile, because their business model is not Luciferian, that we have to take over the world. I'm not predicting the end of the Roman Empire here, but it's bizarre, isn't it? Like, over here, it's just Americans and white men are just obsessed with trillions of dollars of bullshit. And then over here, China just fucking boom. It's like the coach of Indiana. Like, a guy from Western Pennsylvania takes over a really bad football team and wins the national championship in the second season. That's China. So I'm not for it or against it. I'm sort of just like tired of this. Like, okay, we're going to spend months and months and months. And in my heart of hearts, the whole time the war in Iran was going on, and Netanyahu and the kids' school, in my heart of hearts, I was like, that's not what this is. This is some kerfuckery with all the oil, and it's all going to be rerouted. And you could even go further and say it's almost like Iran is in on it. Like, why didn't Iran just blow up the Ben Gurion airport? If it was a real war, why didn't they just go, no more airport? Because that's not what it was. It's not a real war. None of the war on terror is a real war. It's all this like negotiation, moving shit around. We can't have 20th century dictators anymore in those countries. So we're going to turn them into sort of third world hellholes where all the different people kill each other and cut their heads off so that we can route the oil and gas where we need to go. That's it. That's okay. If you thought America was going to take over Iraq's oil, like, you don't get the joke at all. There's no America in this, people. There's no America in this. It's weird. At the San Diego airport, there's like some advertisement, like for some, I think it's the Marine Recon or something like that. It doesn't even say US on it. It just is this, like, it's like they're mercenaries. It doesn't even say US Marine Corps, and like proud and the few or something like that. It's just this image of these like decked out stormtrooper motherfuckers who are going to blow everything up, as though they're just like belong to a corporation. So what does all this mean for us little people? Verizon is going to leave the Dow Jones Industrial, be replaced by Google. See, that's the other thing. They're going to manipulate all these indexes. You can say it's artificial, but it's really not, because if they can justify market cap, it moves one stock into another and they push the other one out. That's just the way indexes work. And this is how you wake up day after day, and China does everything better than us, but yet our indexes go up. They'll just find a way to make them go up. If BlackRock wants SpaceX to be worth $10 trillion, they can do it. In other words, it would only take like $2 billion of buying power on a given day just to sit there and buy SpaceX stock and just run it up like this until now everybody at the end of the day goes, oh my God, Elon Musk is worth $4 trillion. That's how our system works now. We all need to get over it, including me. There's a pretty good guy on Zero Hedge called Quoth the Raven. He does really nice work. Here's how he said it. It's almost I just read it right before I put my tie on. It's called QTR, Quoth the Raven's Fringe Finance. One of the more embarrassing habits of modern finance is its insistence on pretending the stock market has some integrity left. Capital, we used to think, flowed to the most productive businesses. Prices reflected fundamentals. Risk was priced. The market in the long run separated signal from noise, rewarded cash generation over fantasy. This is a good line. I wish I would have come up with this one myself. This is the civics class version of markets. This is how white men like to think. White men are like, oh, yeah, we're better than China. It's way bigger, $40 trillion of tech. What do they got? Like nothing. Because they've all been indoctrinated in Ayn Rand and Milton Friedman and other financialization philosophers of nothingness. That is the civics class version of markets, and at this point, it bears no resemblance to the one we actually trade in. That's right. The deeper problem is that speculative inflation, market cap, as I'm describing it, can now be mechanically converted into benchmark index legitimacy and then forcibly distributed to passive investors as diversification. In other words, the modern market increasingly allows stock to get bid up through narrative, call option activity, and momentum, then ratifies those bloated valuations through index inclusion, and finally pipes them directly into the retirement system through ETFs, mutual funds, and model portfolios. That's it. That's how the system works now. It's Luciferian. It like lives off of the lie. And you can just scream at Herod's temple or charge the windmill. It doesn't really, it's not going to do anything. To me, the bigger question is in your life is like, what do you want to do with your life? Life, like your body and your family and stuff. But the moral of the story is today that Space Mind is going to be built whether we want to or not, whether we elect blue or red, or Mom Donnie's going to take over with his cast of socialist Muslims is going to take over New York City. Like, it's sort of exhausting. It's sort of like Hunger Games without the pretty girl or something. What was her name? The one with the bow and everything. By the way, the author of that movie lives in a Connecticut, small town of Connecticut, where there was a strange incident. But those are the numbers. Google and Apple are probably fine. Will probably thrive. Microsoft is going to be interesting to watch. I think Meta was announced. You may have seen like employee morale is like they just have a sense that everybody's getting up and going to work in the morning, put themselves out of business. And Oracle, and we should all really celebrate the fact that Oracle is a clusterfuck, 41% owned by Larry Ellison, who's a Zionist freak, fiend. These people have no respect for the Constitution, culture, our way of life, none of it. and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. Do you think some Republican senator from Louisiana is going to take on fucking Larry Ellison? No, no. But it's nice to see them bleed out. It is. They're going to bleed out. There might be some sort of bailout, that they go private or something, and they'll just take all the technology from Oracle and throw it up against SpaceX or something. That's how it's going to be now, people. It's sort of a weird mix of, you know, like Macbeth, like never so fair and foul a day have I seen, and um, but it's really going to come down to like the kinds of things that you want to do. What does that mean? Well, culturally, maybe even religiously, artistically. I think the further this goes on, have you noticed that there's like a drop off in content on Substack, and there's a drop off of engagement? I'm not really upset about it. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, but like nobody even like is like responding to my work anymore, and it almost feels like everybody's just sick of hearing it. You know what I mean? Everybody's just fucking sick of Larry Ellison and Trump and the whole thing. And that in itself might be very profound. Starmind. Remember, it's called Stargate, and they were going to like cover West Texas in data centers, and that didn't work out too good. So they started to back off that. Now we're going to be focused on the Starmind. But the narrative, I think you can look at it. I'll finish with this. And I think this is what Quoth Raven is getting. The narratives run the inflation now. You know what I mean? Like the memes, we put the meme out there and then the money chases the meme. It's not that the money chases some sort of real economic activity. We're in the star mind. Musical interlude. Okay. We're in the moon age daydream. We're in the star mind daydream. And let's see if YouTube will let me play this without another commercial.
I'm an alligator. I'm a mama, papa, coming.
The live one's much better.
Hotels.com introduces safe.
There's an example of some tech that like I don't ever have to use again, like hotels and booking.com and all that. It's great. You save $7, you make one fucking mistake, and you go back in and say, oh shit, I put that on the 17th and I need to fly on the 18th. And you have no way to get through the tech, and there's no human behind it. You've just thrown all your money and ideas and travel agenda into the star mind, and you ain't getting it back. Which leads us to if you followed me for some time, we're like looking at this very strongly. We're looking at it very strongly at this like AI stuff that's sort of hyper local. And maybe this will be the thing where people just go, I've had enough. I've had enough of Elon's worth $1 trillion. And like my kid's like 29. Like I have a friend here and she's a darling little daughter who just graduated. And she said, Mommy, I don't even want a boyfriend. I don't even want one. They're just not good to me. I mean, isn't that sad? I mean, it's a, woe is me kind of a thing, but like there's a general sense of that. Like young people can't even afford to go out for a drink. But we're going to have Starmind. And we're not going to have David Bowie. can't say it very good.
I'm an alligator.
There you go.
I'm a mama and papa calling for you. I'm the space invader.
It's a really...
I'll be a rock and roller bitch for you. Keep your mouth up.
Okay, go find this on YouTube and make yourself a big fat cocktail and like watch it, and then you're gonna watch his guitar player go into this freak show thing. I don't know. I like Ziggy Stardust better than I like Starmind. Have a nice week.
Put your finger to the fire. Reach up, space, come on now. Free down in the lunar state train. Oh yeah.
You know, the other thing to think about when you, I think this is like from 1974, 76 or something like that. I know a little bit about guitar. I play a little bit. I'm not very good, but there's Mick Ronson or Rick Monson. I always get them mixed up. But you know the secret to his guitar sound? You're hearing it right now. There's no technology. The genius of his sound is he actually uses a wall pedal, and he just sets it, and it gets plugged into that, and it gets plugged into the amplifier. There's no electronic digital bullshit in between. Same with him. Like the song was probably written on an acoustic guitar, and then they get in front of 40,000 people, and there's like really very little technology other than like massive Marshall amplifiers. But we're gonna have Starmind. I'm sorry it took me to the end of the video to say this, but we have a lovely woman as our director of IT who's going to start sending out emails. You're going to see emails from Camille, and it's going to go through the Substack system. She gave like an intro this week. It sounds like about a third of you opened it. As has always been the case here, it's going to be like a mix of, we're glad you're on here for free. We'd rather you not be free. We have some ideas for you to be on here if you're free. We have some ideas if you want to get more engaged, and then if you want to be partners and do other things. But after 2.5 years, I think we finally are in our position. Leave with this thing in mind. The crypto community, the blockchain community, Vitalik Buterin, the guy from the Web3 Foundation who's British, and I can't remember his name right now, have spent a lot of time thinking about this idea that one day you're going to wake up into the Starmind. And the Starmind is going to control everything about you from your bank account. The Congress just passed the thing that there's no digital currency, but there is corporations who will run digital currencies, which in some ways is worse. And that in their world, they're like, no, we need some way to engage the internet. The other thing to do is get off the internet. Is just to go buy the $4,000 block and download a big fat LLM model into it and say, I don't really need to know what the newest whatever is. It's all right there. My Encyclopedia Britannica is in this little Apple box in the corner. But the other way is to be able to engage the internet and control the surveillance. right? The way we do it on Apple now is I go like this with my thumbprint, or it looks at my face, and the Israelis just installed eye recognition. It can read my bio, whatever. So then they're going to send this into the Starmind. Okay. Nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide. Well, it might be that starting to engage with your wallet it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to give you some. It's sort of weird that my iPhone gets to look at my eyes like probably 18 times a day, right? And if I order this or I order that, or I do a transaction at the liquor store or whatever, at the gummy store or whatever, it's watching it all, right? So you're going to get an email in the next week or two. This will go to everybody, free and unfree. And if you want to tell your neighbor Bob or your niece or whatever that you should follow this weird guy, sometimes he wears a tie and plays David Bowie, that'd be great. Because what we're going to do is really encourage you and hold your hand to start engaging the internet with blockchain and AI. The blockchain gives you the ability to control your identity. It's the decentralization idea that's key.